PTN24 ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਟ੍ਰੇਟ ਟਾਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਪਿਆ। ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਰਵੀਨਾ ਸੈਂਟੋਸ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਨੇ, ਨਾਲ ਪੌਲ ਵਿਸੈਂਟੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਨੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ 'ਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਆ। ਦੇ ਆਰ ਟਰਾਈਂਗ ਟੂ ਮੇਕ ਅ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਸ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਪਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਲਾਈਕ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟ 1 ਲੱਖ ਬੰਦਾ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟਾਂ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ। ਦੇ 100,000 ਪੀਪਲ ਲਿਵਿੰਗ ਇਨ ਦੀ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟਸ ਵਿਚ ਅਨਅਕਾਊਂਟਡ ਫॉर। But those people, they are utilizing the schools, they're utilizing every space, they're utilizing public utilities, buses and all that stuff, and GO trains. So that is why we see the kind of clash at the moment. And officially the population is 626,000. But I believe, my private belief is it's about 700,000 at the moment. And I think there are about 42,000 condo units in Brampton. And nearly 140 to 50,000 houses. Houses, I mean, they are all kinds, And the condos are mostly limited to the Bramley area and the area on 410 and Ray Lawson and all that area. So gridlock is a great problem. This whole city, kind of 600,000 people, they kind of empties in the morning and it's refilled in the evening like a big balloon. So people are on the streets. And you look at 410 and all the other like they're going to the south, so every street is full. And people spend like maybe commuting an hour, 1 hour to 1.5 hours in the morning, and maybe an equal time in the evening. So it's kind of trying, and I think it hits the way of life in Brampton. So when you come back exhausted, right, the other activities suffer, and it's reflecting in the city. That's why we call it a bedroom community. You people today have a great chance to make a change, leave your impression on the city. I don't know where you've been in 10 years or 15 years, but anything that you do today, all the decisions that you're taking today, if you look into the future, they will be executed in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years' time. Look at the university proposal. It was like it came up in 2014. And I remember talking to the mayor, previous Susan Fennell, and she said, we don't need one, right? That was a personal opinion. And if the mayor has the opinion that we don't need a university, I have it on record. And if she says, well, we don't need one, then you can't do much about it. So it's all about vision. The university is not needed because the kids need it. The university is needed to make this city a complete city.
Yes. That's correct. That's right.
Right?
Yep.
It's a way of life.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a university in a city which is the 9th largest in Canada, I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
We are trying to work to all the people of Brampton are with you. You guys are trying to make it happen. Despite the obstacles by the province, they cancelled the funding, right? But still we are hopeful that something can be salvaged. Because it's not about the $90 million that they cancelled. It's about the recurring expenses year after year to sustain the university.
That's right.
That funding was to come from provincial. It's approximately about $30 million every year. And the city can ill afford to raise their taxes to make up that shortfall year after year. So 90 million is not the issue. We can always find 90 million. But the issue was the recurring expenses. So that is just an example, what you people can do to make a difference. And we are proud of the fact that we have today in Brampton a council which is very well educated, and they are very passionate about this stuff, and they want to do something. Coming back to that, the basement issue, I will share my own experience with you. So one fine day I landed in the basement committee, before the new basement law was passed.
You were on a basement committee?
Yeah. And the chief of planning lady was there. I don't remember her name. Then the fire chief was there and all this stuff. And they were giving the options to the councillor in charge, which was Gurpreet. And I had a question for everyone, officials in the world. Look here, you are trying to tell us that this cannot be done, this cannot be done, this cannot be done. Your job is not to tell us what cannot be done. Your job is to tell us, give us plan A, give us plan B, give us plan C. The council is the lawmaker. They make laws. You cannot tell the council they cannot make this law in the best interest of the city. And if that is your attitude, you are not doing your jobs properly. All right? But the issue is that having said that, and that is just an example, every time it happened, it's the same story. I hope it's going to change in this the next 4 years up to while you people like you are on the council and the city staff knows that you are there and you're more well informed than the previous council, right? And my question to you is, well, the basement, it's a good thing we see basements now which are legalized,
Yes.
the bigger windows and all that stuff, right? But they're pretty costly to make, you know. A basement which was previously costing like $25,000 is today costing $45,000. A whole new industry has sprung up, and that's good too. People who interact with the city, they get you connections, they give you permits and all that stuff, right? So renovations is a big business in Brampton today because there are so many new houses coming up. Most of the houses are basements which can be rented, and most of the new basements, I will tell you one thing because of the new law, most of the 90% of the new basements being built are legalized. People are taking the extra care to get them legalized. And will that help, you know, in when you earlier, you know, because the illegal basement you cannot calculate the population of the city, will the legal basements help in calculating the population?
If basements are legalized?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think though in the statement that you've made, the comments that you've just made right now, you've brought up a number of different issues that we should probably unpack, and I don't know if we have enough time to unpack them. But we are at a tipping point of the city of Brampton. There are significant pressures for us from the province, in particular, to grow. And as you said, there is an uncalculated population who are living in basement apartments. A number of different issues come up to mind here, and that is the need for more housing, property taxes, and economic development. Okay, so from the, and I'll speak to the property tax side of things and the impact of basement apartments on that, and Paul can speak to some of the other things and add on as well. Ultimately, with single detached homes, which is the majority of the development in Brampton, the services that are required to sustain that type of development are significantly more than a denser development or intensification such as a condo. Now, if we continue to build houses in that way, our property taxes as residents will continue to climb much faster than if we were to intensify. If you add in there people who are now living in basement apartments, that's an extra family or an extra group of people living in that same house. We are not collecting property taxes from those tenants.
Right.
But there is an increase of services used by those tenants who are in that basement, therefore putting more pressure on the services provided by the city, meaning there is an uncaptured level of property tax from those tenants. If you compare that to intensification or a condo development that offers more opportunities for people to live, like in a 2-bedroom condo, 1-bedroom condo, or a bachelor condo, you are also collecting property taxes from those units, and a condo or an intensification property has less pressures on infrastructure and captures the fair property tax required to sustain the residents in those buildings.
And you know, the model is already there. We talk about smart growth. And if you look at cities all across the world, they have figured out these issues a long time ago. You look at cities like Paris, Lisbon, Rome, Spain. They understand that if people are to have a higher quality of life, they need to live where they work.
Yes.
They need to live where they have all of the amenities available. And so when you build neighborhoods that are essentially like a mono type of subdivision with just homes, you are putting folks in a position where they have to go somewhere else to do the other parts of living. And so that is where now, with a new council, we come in. You're right, a complete city is what we envision. We envision a city where you can live here, where you can have a job, where your kids can go to school, and we have wonderful schools in Brampton, where your families can play. We have wonderful recreation centers in Brampton. So we already have a lot of the great things that make a city truly great. But as we mentioned before, the jobs piece is missing, and the education piece. And so you talked about before the desire of the city to have a university. And you know, we're very, very pleased to see those developments beginning to happen. And I think I would let Rowena speak about some of the exciting news that has been happening on the university front, because we know that that is really something that
I think you made an announcement yesterday, something big.
That is correct.
Yeah, so to your point earlier, when you were talking about the cut in funding from the province to build the university as originally proposed, and the $30 million of annual operating costs, you know, Ryerson, the city, Algoma, and Sheridan, we are all committed to bringing post-secondary to Brampton and a university. We definitely need a university. Now, despite that cut in funding, we as a city, together with the other institutions, have found creative ways to anchor post-secondary learning in Brampton. Ryerson is teaching their Chang School of Continuing Education here in Brampton, and yesterday we passed a motion at committee which will be ratified next week, and Ryerson, we accepted the proposal from Ryerson to bring their Center for Cybersecurity here in Brampton, which is a significant development for us, as well as have Ryerson manage our innovation hub in the downtown core. So, and I believe in the proposal as well, we're going to see the R of Ryerson on one of the buildings.
How about the housing? Where are they getting the... where is it going to be housed?
But we can talk about that. But to your earlier point, when you attract a school like the caliber that Ryerson has, it's not just a story about education.
No.
It's a story about economic development.
Yes.
Because a school like Ryerson is going to be a huge attractor to tech companies that all around the world are looking to be close to where the technologies for securing internet networks is being developed. And so that is really the hidden story behind a university like Ryerson coming to Brampton.
That was made possible only because of the determination of the city.
Well, that is correct.
Right? When Ryerson said, well, we are backing out, the city protested. And people heard about it.
Ryerson never said that they were going to back out.
Well, I'm in politics. There's never a smoke without any fire, you know.
Well, you know, I'll tell you now, Rue, both Councillor Santos and myself, we have been very privileged through our engagement to have had the opportunity to have been in constant contact with Ryerson, not just now as elected officials, but beforehand as members of Brampton Focus and Media and Stand Up for Brampton. And we had the opportunity a long time ago to speak with President Lashemi of Ryerson University. And from that day until now, his resolve to...
Unwavering?
He never wavered. And so when the challenge of the defunding announcement from the province arose, Rowena was in constant contact with them, and we never heard them say that we are not continuing to be dedicated to the city. And I think that that's important for the people of this city to know.
So the commitment, what the regional councillors Paul Vicente and Rowena here are saying, that the commitment of Ryerson to the city's education sector is unwavering, and they are committed to invest more and more, and that is where the new, what's that called? The
Center for Cybersecurity, Cybersecure
Catalyst.
Cybersecure Catalyst.
I have to look up my notes.
That's right.
It's an innovation hub and a cybersecurity center in downtown Brampton, and the Chang School in the city, which they have a continuing education program, so they are growing on that. It's a welcome development. We can build on that engagement. And I do feel that with this new council, because you see, when the news broke that the 90 million funding is not there, any other council would have sat back and relaxed, okay, the show is over. But with this council, the show just started.
That's right.
And that is the beginning. It's a challenge. And we people know that our council is up to the challenge and we have full confidence in your abilities to deliver, because challenges means innovation. You have to innovate to beat the challenge, and I believe that is exactly what we are saying. This Innovation Hub and Cybersecurity Center in downtown Brampton announcement yesterday is a result of that quick turnaround by the city of Brampton, by the aggression that you showed, that the hunger that you are showing to everyone. We are hungry. We want to grow. We want to grow in a planned manner, not in a haphazard manner. So the hunger is there for everyone. I think even the province is going to see that hunger, and it's going to make a change in the fortunes of the city. My next question to you is on the employment lands,
Yeah.
people are going outside to work. It's a big issue. So we have 3,000 acres on the like neighboring other cities here on the east side, which are not utilized. Our taxes are really high. So why don't we lower our taxes a little bit? I did a quick study. It's about 20%, 25% higher than our neighbors. So we have to give some incentives. Industrial condos plazas have to be built. Industrial plazas are plazas with 2,000 square feet. And of course, we have to cater to the big business also, but the small businesses should not suffer because they are the downstream, they are splashed to the big businesses. You might have seen during your campaigning that Brampton has a high level of entrepreneurship. People are really motivated. And it is the job of the council to make it easy for the people to invest in Brampton, to work in Brampton, and make it easy for Brampton. I'm hoping that both of you are going to continue doing what you are doing right now. And the people, the industrialists, the entrepreneurs who want to make Brampton their home, this 1 hour interview with the regional councillors and Councillor Rowena Santos and Paul Vicente, I'm sure they need to watch this again and again, because the message from this interview is loud and clear. Brampton means business. Brampton means catering to small business. Brampton is willing to cater to big business. And Brampton is going to it's going to determine to go all the way to make it happen. And I'm sure over the next 4 years, there will be a lot of changes in the city of Brampton by the way the new city council is working, and I wish you both all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
Thank
being
you,
here with us in PTN24 24 studios. And it's fascinating watching you people work now. I don't have to go to City Hall to watch you work. I can watch it from my home, and I know exactly what you guys are doing because we are now on the same wavelength.
We stand on your shoulders, Budgie.
Thank you very much indeed for being here today. It's a great honor to host you.
Dhanwad, Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you.